Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, my name is Zalfaa Zakiyah. I'm from class B in third semester of Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa University. So in this occasion, I would like to review about the paper that I get from academic speaking subject. The title of paper is Study Abroad: Contribution to Critical Thinking and World Citizenships by Ah Min Huyen. So this paper is tells about how we know that study abroad can contribution in our critical thinking and world citizenship. This paper builds on the articulation of two main theses by Richard Paul and Linda Elder. Firstly, creative thinking and critical thinking are inseparable. And secondly, the intellectual traits that make up critical thinking are interdependent. So, the two theses combined with study have contained repercussions that suggest that study abroad will enhance one's creativity and criticality, where the primary value of such advantages lies in their potential to realize ideals. The reason for the importance of study abroad are that the first consists of developing fair-minded, creative, and critical individuals and societies, while the second consists of developing global citizens and the single community to which they belong. Since study abroad can lead to intellectual growth in students, this paper recommends certain educator and student to help ensure the benefits of study abroad. So the paper is about how we know the study abroad can contributing in critical thinking and world citizenship. In the first discussion, there are benefit of studying abroad, but before I explain about benefit of studying abroad, this paper is tell about uh, 10 I think it's 10 uh, 10 10 main we can know about study abroad. So the benefit of study abroad. Study abroad is typically described as life changing, a defining moment for students. Study abroad helps shapes apart students life for years after the experience. In 2002, the Institute for the International Education of Students (IES) conducted the largest survey of study abroad alumni ever. The IES Abroad 50-year alumni survey confirms the long-term impact of study abroad on a participant in personal, academic, and professional life. The data is so that which the institute gather the respondent who took part in IELTS study abroad programs between uh, 1950 and 1999 saw that study abroad positively influenced the maturity, education, and career path of students. When asked about personal development, 96% said study abroad increased their self-confidence, and 97% said it enhanced their maturity. 89% said it empowered them to tolerate ambiguity, and 84% said it caused them to modify their social political position. When questioned about intercultural development, 98% said study abroad expanded their understanding of their own cultural values and biases. 82% said it helped them develop a more refined way of looking at the world. 90% said it inspired them to cultivate a more diverse circle of friends, and 64% said it encouraged them to explore other cultures. When queried about academic commitment, 80% said study abroad raised their interest in academic study. 86% said it strengthened their commitment to foreign language study. 87% said it helped shape their subsequent educational experience, and 64% said it influenced their decision to attend graduate school. When asked about career development, 62% said study abroad triggered an interest in a career direction pursued thereafter. 76% said it enabled them to acquire skill sets that influence their career path. 65% said it enhanced their ability to speak in a foreign language used in the workplace. And the last is 48% said it prompted them to engage in international work or like volunteerism. And secondly, there are beyond the cultural and linguistic benefits. How reliable are the self-report data given the temptation of the report good behavior and under-report bad behavior? Could be the high percent of survey respondents who claim to have been positively transformed by their study abroad experience be an artifact of social desirability uh, which is a possibility cannot be ruled out. Its actuality is yet to establish. Besides, a number of studies exist that employ objective measurement tools such as like a pre-test or post-test of specific skills and confirm the advantages of study abroad beyond the cultural and linguistic benefit. Consider the improvement of creative thinking and communication skill that students who study abroad generally demonstrate a greater increase in intercultural communication skills after their time abroad than students who stay on campus. Um, and stronger results have been obtained. That students who participate in study abroad not only improve their intercultural communication skills to a greater degree than those who do not, but also achieve a significantly higher level of intercultural communication after the experience than their stay-at-home counterparts. And finally, living abroad has been found to boost creativity. Adaptation may be the key psychological element that explains why living abroad is associated with creativity because culture is such a pervasive force impacting and shaping every aspect of one's life. Adapting oneself to a new culture, learning how to behave and think in a different way, may make, may make individuals chronically aware of multiple perspectives and approach when dealing with Monday and novel situation and thus may be associated with increased creativity. While traveling overseas might not enhance creativity, living in a foreign land and adapting to a new culture would, insofar as study abroad augments the change of cultural adaptation, participant and are poised to gain from enhanced creativity. Okay, the next is there are the inseparability of creativity and critically. Study abroad promotes the development of not only creative thinking but also critical thinking also for two reasons. First, according to the commonly accepted model of critical thinking developed by Richard Ball and Linda, creative thinking and critical thinking are so interwoven that neither can be separated from the other without an essential loss to both. Secondly, in line with the Paul Elder model, certain traits of mind, the growth of several of which study abroad has been shown to advance constitute critical thinking, and the traits are interdependent such that like acquisition, possession, retention, employment, development, and enrichment of one requires the same of the others. And our critical thinking will be compromised if we are severally lacking in any these of traits. As you know, consider the inseparability of creativity and critically thinking, whether creative or critical, is cognitive achievement, something which the mind most work attain. Creative thinking involves a process of making or constructing, whereas area critical thinking involves a process of judging and assessing. Again, the next is there are the interdependence of intellectual traits. Paul and Elder confines of critical thinking as the art of the analyzing and evaluating thinking with a view to improving it. You know what? Because standard of excellent and mindful command of their use, critical thinking is like a self-direct, self-disciplined, self-monitored, and self-corrective thinking. Their conception of critical thinking is an art notwithstanding. Paul and Elder insist that it is more than just mastering a certain set of skills. Since it defines one's character, critical thinking involves the possession of certain set of traits, the habit of exercising these traits at and the commitment to accept and employ the results that are for to guide one behavior. According to the Powell and Elder model, the traits characteristically present in critical thinkers include intellectual humility, intellectual courage, intellectual empathy, intellectual perseverance, intellectual integrity, intellectual autonomy, and confidence in reason, and fair-mindedness. The next is there are cultivation of critical thinking. Tracy Rondon Storm Williams study which relies on more than just self-report measures indicate that study abroad students generally demonstrate an increase in each of the following, like understanding of international and cultural issue, flexibility and adaptability in new environment, tolerance toward and comfortability with people of culturally diverse backgrounds, open-mindedness and curiosity, and critical skills such as researchfulness, creative thinking, problem solving, decision making, socialization, negotiation, leadership, and teamwork in culturally diverse settings. Uh, and next is there are Socratic idol of rationality. Socratic was a critical thinker par excellence, the Platonic form of critical thinking, as it were, as evidenced by Plato's dialogues. He manifests all intellectual traits constitutive of critical thinking. So, in the Socratic, was both proponent and explainer of a quite demanding paradigm of critical thinking. An argument is critical thinking, therefore study abroad makes a contribution to relation of Socratic ideal of rationality. Such like contribution consists in helping cultivate fair-minded, creative, and critical individuals and societies. We have seen in Socrates what critical individual is like. And the next is there are Diogenes idol of cosmopolitanism. In addition to critical individuals and society, study abroad helps cultivate citizens of the world and the single community to which they belong. Study abroad thus make a contribution to the relation of the Diogenes idol of cosmopolitanism. So named in honor of Diogenes the Cynics, the first thinker to have called himself a citizen of the world cosmopolites, just a certain traits and habits characteristic the critical way of life. So certain virtues and commitments exemplify the cosmopolitan mode of being. Like just as study abroad develops the critical traits and habits, so it fosters the cosmopolitan virtues and commitments. So the last is there are a few modest proposals. I would like to conclude with three thematic proposals. First, study abroad while not inexpensive. Foster the development of informed, critical, and creative thinkers who communicate effectively. To borrow a signature phrase from from the university that we can in the paper, quality of enhancement the plate. And secondly, considering adaptation as the critical mechanism that underlies the robust correlation between living overseas and enhanced creativity, study abroad programs ought to be structured in such way to increase the student chance of adapting in another country. And the third here is a recent study um, with most actively encouraging yet the kinds of study abroad assessment that typically accompany in academia curricula. Okay, so the last is okay. The closing is I would like to explain about the benefit for reading this paper. There are benefits that we can get from reading this paper, as we know that study abroad is important thing for improve our critical thinking and creative thinking, also in world citizenship. So when we read this paper, we know that study abroad can contributing in our critical thinking and improve our critical thinking, and also in world citizenship that we know that we want to try it. We want to try it study abroad so that we can get the benefit of study abroad itself. So uh, I think I think also in the benefit in this paper, also there are a weakness in this paper. I will explain about the weakness is uh, I think the weakness of this paper, because there are no step by step for beginner to starting study abroad. I think like step by step that we know this paper not explaining what things we should we beginner for first time in study abroad, that we don't know how to step by step, and we what we should preparing for study abroad. I think this paper is not complete with step by step, and what we should preparing for study abroad, something like that thing. But we know the benefit of this paper is we just know that study abroad is so much important for us to just I think it's like worth it to trying study abroad in university. So that's all from me about the paper study abroad contributing in critical thinking and in world citizenship. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.